Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from a chilly Israel in the Galilee. 62 degrees now. I got my hat on. I want to stay warmer. Um, you're never going to see an Orthodox Jew wear a hat like this. Okay, so you know what I'm not. I'm an Old Testament, New Testament believer. But we will come up into the low 80s, 82 today. A little bit warmer tomorrow, 84, then 83, 82. But it's like we'll stay in the 80s for a while. Then we'll go into the 70s. So it's going to start getting cold. No rain though, so I'm happy. The rain is what I can't stand. Well, anyway, I don't need to talk about that. So, being a Bible believing site, Old and New Testament, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. While people are coming in, I'm going to jump into the live stream and make sure we got sound and picture. And then I'm going to put a couple of quick posts up. We got sound and picture. Now I'm going to put a couple of fast posts up. Okay. It's just going to take a very brief period of time. Ooh, cold. Excuse me. It's actually colder outside. I just came in and I'm warming up, so my body's sneezing with something. Oh. Almost there, guys. Be fast. So I have my email address going up, and you could use that to, um, if you want to send a question in, you want to give me a scripture that I could read and we could discuss, as long as it's related to what we're talking about, or remotely related, with the scriptures. You could send toss requests in and so forth, okay? Speaking of toss requests, we have a toss request for someone with the initials TS. The Lord knows who it is. So a toss for TS. Okay? Tango Sierra. TS. Tango Sierra toss request. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to, of course, go through the current events in the Middle East with Israel, Iran, Hezbollah, and all that. And we're going to talk about, yes, a Russian plane, a government plane, did fly into Israel and stayed here about an hour and a half. And I believe this was one of Putin's people. We don't know who. A delegation probably met this person or persons at the airport, and they maybe had a chat on the plane or whatever. It was a brief visit. And then my guess was Putin has been offering with Israel to negotiate a ceasefire or peace deal between Iran and Israel. Now, that isn't going to work easily with Israel because Iran is very happy to just keep having their proxies attack Israel with their weapons and their money and their training and their military advisors and stay out of it. But that's not going to happen. So that's why it was a very brief meeting. The Russian warships, I can't tell if they ever left Iran or they're still there. There was a flotilla, my guess, maybe 6. And they are probably intending to do takedowns. So if Israel rockets fly towards Iran, or drones, their intention would probably be to do takedowns to defend Iran. That's my take on it. Would Russia shoot down Israeli jets? I would say there's like 10% chance of that. I don't believe they would do it. That would be war with Israel. It just irritating Israel by putting these ships there as a threat will likely cause Israel to give military aid to Ukraine. And this is what Russia's afraid, because if Israel decides to help Ukraine, what are some of the things you could see? We'll talk about it right now. Well, you could see pagers and walkie-talkies and cell phones blowing up. You could see iron domes to take down drones and missiles. You could see Merkava tanks go there that have defense systems that are quite extraordinary. Some of the older ones shoot a shotgun type device. They usually have about 2 of them, I think, on the tank, and they're radar controlled, and when an incoming projectile is aimed at the tank, as it gets close to the tank, this thing is not like a duck gun or something like that. It shoots a lot of pellets. They're hardened metal, probably molybdenum or something like that, and they shred the incoming artillery shell, mortar shell, anti-tank missile. Okay, when it gets close to the tank, it doesn't shoot it at a mile away. It probably goes at most 25 yards, because these things lose velocity. They're not going to go far. And then the more modern versions have little missiles that are radar controlled, and then they fire them at the incoming projectile and they blow them up. Okay. Now, Russia needs this like a hole in the head. Okay. If they had 20 or 30 of these tanks and they were rolling in to Russia, Russia would have really hard time stopping them. Now, aside from these defense mechanisms, they got reactive tank armor. Okay? So this would give Russia a very, very bad headache. I mean, it would be real problematic for Russia. I mean, he would not like this. And then we could give him more aggressive weapons. There's all sorts of stuff we could do. We could go over there and send our special forces advisors to help them. I mean, Putin's got to watch himself. So this might have been, the jet came here to tell Israel that, look, we're going to try to do some takedowns. We got to do something for Iran. We can't ignore Iran. And, that's the extent of it. So please don't shoot our warships. You know, it's likely it took this direction as well. Although I can't tell you for sure. But it wasn't Putin coming over here and saying, hey, if you attack Iran, we're going to blow Tel Aviv off the map. That wasn't it. Okay? So, remember, Putin evacuated 17 of his bases in Syria very recently because he doesn't want to be involved in this thing with Syria. And Syria is a proxy of Iran, you know. But he's got to do something, okay? To look good to Iran, and he still wants Iran to feed them weapons. Now, Israel has never put the sanctions or enforced the existing sanctions on Russia. They're not such bad enemies, okay? That could likely change, very possibly change. America and Israel are committed to each other to a reasonably decent extent anyway. And if Russia wants to escalate it, that's fine. But listen, let me break Russia down for you so you understand. And I'm going to break Iran down for you so you understand, okay? Russia has gone over there and made, you know, boot kisses at North Korea, so now we're best of friends and we'll help you. Okay? With China next door to North Korea, what the heck does North Korea need Russia for? Well, because they're in this axis of evil. They're all evil, but we'll call it the axis of evil to destroy the American dollar. By the way, Nigeria just announced they're no longer selling oil for the US dollar. How about that? It's getting worse all the time for America. So Putin sends warships over there to China in the China area by Taiwan and the Koreas, and conducts exercises with them in the last few weeks. And you know, Russia's okay. So Russia's going to defend China. Russia's going to defend North Korea. Russia's going to defend Iran. And Russia is not doing well in Ukraine. And Russia's going to defend Belarus also. And Russia's threatening everybody. It's the same like Iran. Okay? I mean, the only way Russia, North Korea, China, and Iran get out of this is if they all belly up to the bar and attack America and NATO. That's it. They got no other way out. Do I think they're about to do this any day now? Yes. Do I think they're dumb enough to let Israel and America pick off Iran and, you know, NATO, well, Ukraine with a lot of support, pick off Russia and all? No, they're not that dumb. China knows that if they just look the other way with America and what the sanctions have done to them, that they're going to be busted out in worse shape economically than they are now, and so will North Korea be, and so will Russia, and so will Iran. The Iran currency is dropping again, okay? So Russia has to make a lot of threats, but the Pentagon sees through the threats. But the threat of the four of them, China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia, you know, plus Belarus, plus Cuba, plus Venezuela, you know, some of the stand countries, you know, if you add them all up against America, even with NATO, America ain't going to make it. And if it did, which it won't, if it did, it would be limping on one leg with one hand dangling. It would be really busted out, okay? And they know if they don't do it, they're getting picked off by America one by one. Now they came up with BRICS. BRICS is designed to destroy sanctions. Sanctions will not work with BRICS, or they'll work 25, 30%. They're not going to work all the way at all. So the economies of China and North Korea and Iran and Russia and Cuba and Venezuela will soar. And what do they do with their money? Do they make new roads? Do they build hospitals, schools, house the poor? Heck no. They build war machines. America has their back to the wall. BRICS is got debit cards like Amex, Visa, MasterCard. They got a digital currency like Bitcoin, and they have paper money. I showed it to you yesterday. And 159 countries want to get into this digital currency thing of theirs. And they're likely going to let them in. And they're going to say, we want to see you show some efforts to stay away from the US dollar and, that kind of thing. And 30 countries are trying to join BRICS right now. They got 9 or 10. They want to add 30 more. Eventually, if time allows, China and Russia and Iran and North Korea are going to say, we have to form a BRICS NATO type organization. I promise you, if time allows, they would do this. Prophetic time, if it allowed. Then everybody that was in BRICS would have to pledge a certain amount of soldiers and equipment and everything else. So to be a real primary BRICS member, you would have to pledge your military. And they wouldn't say if a country had 100,000 soldiers, they wouldn't say you got to pledge. They might say pledge 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, something like that. Okay, but when you add it all up, if you got 30 countries pledging proportionate amounts and you put it together, well, your BRICS army could easily be a 250,000 or 500,000, and they could go in with their planes and their tanks and their warships, because they want you to pledge all that stuff too, and conduct wars. And America knows that. BRICS is not going to be allowed to go through and do much damage to America. America's going to try to stop it. Will they be successful? That's another story. We have to see how the wars play out. Now, I'm thinking. So Putin threatens and makes a show of force, but have we seen Putin deliver? NATO and America crossed, 10 red lines of Putin? They're occupying his land. The other day, Ukraine didn't use long-range missiles, but they went in there and blew up a lot of stuff right around St. Petersburg. They've attacked Moscow. That's not a red line. I mean, Putin is scared. Okay? Now, I think he's rather, he's scared. They're all scared. They don't know what's going to happen. Okay? Look, they're sitting there living in palaces, multiple palaces with massive servants, with armies, with so much money. The leaders of these countries, they could basically buy whatever they want, you know. And they don't want to give that lifestyle up. They have the best foods flowing in from all over the world. The best tailors from all over the world come. They got the best jewelry, the best watches, the best cars, the best planes, the best yachts, the best this, the best that. They're afraid. They're worried about giving this stuff up. All right, let's keep moving. Iran. In the last, I would say 12 to 18 hours, something like that. There was a nuclear plant in Iran at a place called Karaj. It got hit by something and great big fire. I didn't get any specifics on was there a big explosion before the fire. Now, some days before this, another one of the nuclear plants had also a big fire. And they had an oil refinery with a big fire not long ago. So was this a result of the cyber attack that Israel did several weeks ago on Iran, which the European and American media didn't cover, but the Indian press did extensively? And the pro-Iranian, pro-Hezbollah terrorist social media sites, a lot are in India, they talked about it too. It was very real. You think the Cayman Islands did it? Or Taiwan? No. Who do you know who did it? Us. And we could have put like Stuxnet viruses in there and, many things. I don't know what we did. Nobody's talking. Why should they talk? They shouldn't. And they might be able to, as time goes on, trigger more events like this fire in the nuclear plant. And the oil refinery had an explosion. It was attacked. And this was probably attacked too. The Iranian story was it was attacked by terrorists. Okay. I'd give that a 10% chance. Did we fly a plane in and do it? I don't know. Why would Israel want to tell anybody? Israel doesn't go out and publicly take credit for it. Why? Because they know Iran knows who did it, and that's the point of this, plus the damage Iran. So the war against Iran has been ongoing for a few weeks now. Israel's slicing off targets. Look, you all know what a bologna or a salami is, right? Okay. You cut a slice off, you cut a slice off, you cut a slice off. Guess what? After a while, there's nothing left. Got it? That's a Jewish joke. They talk about that with Israel. You cut a piece of the salami off another piece, and then you got nothing left. You keep going. Okay. So did Iran come out and say, we're going to attack Israel now because they did this? Or did they attack Israel? No. They are scared of us. Look, we're announcing the attacks, big cyber attack, oil refinery fires, nuclear plant fires, right? Okay. What they should do is what we did when Hezbollah was staging 6,700 missiles and missile launches to attack Israel. And we just went in with, was at least 100 aircraft at one time and blew them all up. That's what Iran should be doing, but they are afraid. So they had Russia come over there with a show of force with several warships, and they might still be there. I don't know. Let me tell you how else things are going as we're headed towards war fast. Saudi Arabia did naval military exercises with Iran in the Indian Ocean. That's outside of the Persian Gulf a spell, not that far away. You go Persian Gulf, Sea of Oman, Indian Ocean. And now, well, of course, the other day, Iran did exercises with Russia and Oman. So Oman is in the camp of Iran, turned on America. Okay? Saudi Arabia turned on America, and now we're hearing in the near future, Saudi Arabia is going to conduct naval exercise drills in the Red Sea with Iran. Iran in the Red Sea near the Houthis with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia months ago said we're not selling oil and I assume natural gas for the dollar or the euro. Saudi's gone to the side of Iran. That's it. I'm going to show you in Bible prophecy all this stuff in Jeremiah 49, which I've done many times, but I'll do it again for the sake of those that don't know it. So Iran is scared and Russia is scared. Russia right now can't go handle the Ukraine thing. They haven't even recovered that 135 square kilometers that Ukraine is still occupying in Russia. And Russia's going to send forces to help North Korea fight South Korea, send forces to help Iran fight Israel, send forces to attack NATO countries. Russia can't do that. They just can't. But they're threatening it. But if they have the help, if China and North Korea, Iran and Russia and Belarus and a few of the stand countries, Cuba, Venezuela, they all group together, they can do it. And you're going to see them do it. And remember, America's stuck with those sleeper agents. All right, back to my notes here. Biden, I think in the last 24 hours, said that Iran is in violation of international law by them enriching uranium in the amounts and extent they have. And I told you months ago that the big alibi, or even the alibi, to attack Iran is going to be the nuclear fear. Iran's got enough energy, uranium or plutonium, whatever the heck they're going to use, to make nuclear bombs, and they got missiles that could reach us, and they'll blow New York and Miami up and everything else, right? And, you know, it don't play well with the people in the media and the people who live in America. Does Biden have any motivation to do this before the election on November 4th? Big motivation. If war breaks out with Iran said they're going to definitely attack American assets, which would be all the bases in Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Bahrain. I don't know if America has bases in Saudi Arabia anymore. They're not talking. And I don't know if we have bases in Oman anymore. And I don't even know if we're still in Kuwait, because Kuwait invited the Iranian Navy there a little while ago, 2 months, to come for a visit called a port call. Jordan is still in the camp of America. I don't think the UAE is with America anymore. I think the UAE is with BRICS. I think they got in BRICS, and they're with Russia and Iran. I don't think they're involved with America much anymore, and I doubt Oman is. And I don't know if America's dumb enough to keep their bases there. That's would be one of the most moronic things America could do, because these countries will just allow terrorists to attack the bases. And that gives Biden his war cry. They attacked our bases, they killed 97 soldiers, 163 wounded, that's war. There's a coalition that America put together, including the G7 nations. You got to hear this one. I wrote it down. Let me find it. Well, I can't. Basically, they are forming a fund of $50 billion. $50 billion. Here it is. America and her allies, including the G7, are putting together a $50 billion package for Ukraine. And they'll probably have it put together in a few days. $50 billion of military aid. Now, you know how much that is? It's massive. What do you think Putin's going to do? Do you think Putin's going to wait and sit back and give it weeks to cycle through committees and stuff like that, and then see so Putin ain't going to wait to see the impact it had on Russia. That's massive. That'll be aircraft, tanks, missiles, defensive missiles. Putin got himself a real problem. China, they're not so enthusiastic about having a big world war over Taiwan or even South Korea. They got to get rid of America because they're crushing their economy with sanctions, and they want to control China. And China don't want to be controlled by anybody. So China and Russia got together and figured out how to bust America out economically. Getting people to, this BRICS currency is backed by commodities, which could be gold, it could be natural gas, it could be oil, probably corn, rice, wheat, whatever they take. So it's not really backed solid like, gold coin. A gold coin is backed by gold. A piece of money that says you can go redeem it for a gold coin at a government bank is pretty darn good compared to what we see in the world these days, but not the same thing as having the actual gold coin. If you got that under your mattress, so to speak, and war breaks out and the banks get destroyed, you got your gold under the mattress. If Biden and his crew think that Kamala is going to lose, what are Biden's fears? Well, Trump unusually got prosecuted in a number of criminal cases. One in New York is outrageous. He's got about 50 counts, 50 charges, each one with its own prison sentence as a felony. Federal cases, all sorts of stuff. It's unheard of to start prosecuting a former U.S. president that's running for office again. I mean, it's stupid, but it happened. I think he's got 3 sets of cases. Trump is vengeful and vindictive, and he will go after the people that he thinks laid this bomb on him to keep him from getting votes and getting elected. If he wins back the seat in the White House as president, he'll go after them. He'll witch hunt them. Then he has the power. He has the Justice Department, the intelligence agencies, the military, federal law enforcement. He'll go after them. And he'll put them in jail. And they know it. Kamala won't. It's serious. They're afraid of him. Biden could use an executive order, the War Powers Act, anything. Okay? Listen to me. We're coming right up on the election. So, war starts, a fight with Iran, whatever. What's going to happen in America? Well, all these terrorist groups and the mosques that are sympathetic and all that, they're going to all cry for them to get out in the street and protest. And the protests are going to be ugly because they're going to hold America responsible for Israel's attack on Iran. And then Biden and the media blow it up out of proportion, which is child's play for them. And then what happens? Biden says we can't have a fair election. These protesters are at the polls. They're attacking the poll, whatever, they'll suspend the election, postpone it. It'll probably take the 30 or 60 days, but then he could extend it. And Biden may never leave office. He can push it off till the spring of 2025 and then decide to run himself at that next election, not Kamala. Turn on Obama, so to speak, if that means anything, which it may not, I don't know. But, he never really wanted to not leave. He wanted to have a second term. I'm telling you, now I've been talking about this, and I'm hearing other channels now talk about it. If they got the idea from me, that's fine. If any of these guys want to contact me and talk to me, have a sidebar talk with me on the internet, I'll be happy to talk to them. My email address is in the chat, and it's in the description box. They just set up a time, and I'll talk. All they have to do is contact me. I like information getting out. I don't hoard information to promote myself. I promote God and Jehovah and Yeshua. I don't promote myself. So I'll be happy to do that, They seem to be coming around the mountain. Now, Biden may not do that. And could Biden do that in a way after the election? That would be dicey. Trump's elected, and then he says, no, we can't swear Trump in because of a war. We can't take the protests against Trump. No. He has to do it by November 4th. So if this theory goes anywhere, the latest it could go would be during the day on the 4th, when the protests and everything hit. He could suspend elections midday. Okay. And what would that do? He would close the polls. People would never get a chance to vote. The amount of votes that were in would be irrelevant. Even if it was 98% for Trump, it would be meaningless because far from all the votes would have been cast. You do it when 20-30% of the votes are in or something like that. Right? Now, what does this do for him? Oh, it does a lot for him. Then they have to schedule a new election, which he'll say will be in time for the swearing in January 20th. But he doesn't have to do that. And if he jerks it around enough, he just tells the Republican Party that, I'm your new candidate. And I'm the Democrat Party, and I'm running. He could try a move like that, or he could postpone it for months and blackmail the Democrat Party to say, look, I'm not going to schedule new elections unless you run me. What's Kamala going to do? Go in her room and cry? She's not going to do anything. She's a nitwit, basically, in my opinion. So, he could play all kinds of games, guys. So when you hear this talk about Israel's going to attack Iran before the election, be scared. Because that could very much have a hidden meaning. How is an Israeli attack? What are we now? What's the date? 25? Yeah, 25 August. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 1, 2, 3, 4. What do I go out? 10 days or so away. So Israel attacks Iran. Iran does stupid things. America gets in the fight. They attack American bases, warships, whatever. Now everybody's killing Iran. How is that? Let's think this thing through. How is that going to help Biden or the Democrats win the election? It might hurt them. It can hurt them. They say these jerks, the Democrats put us into war, and then Trump will be out there screaming and yelling what idiots they are, and point out 5 or 6 things they did wrong that he would never do. Right? Right. It wouldn't help them. It would hurt them. But if he was going to suspend the election, it would help him. What could be in the back of this guy's mind, if you want to believe he still has one? Well, Blinken, Sullivan, Austin, those characters, they have a mind. But it's been twisted by when they worked for Obama when he was president. In my opinion, they got deviated logic, So their logic is not on the right track. It's Gaga land, but they don't know that. So they make Biden out to be a big hero, wins the day with Iran, wins the day with Russia, maybe, right? And then he's a war hero. He's a victorious president that's been victorious in wars. And of course, he'll say he stopped the nuclear attack. But what nukes? But anyway, he'll he could shoot up in the polls, and people could say they want Biden, and then he could schedule the election and win again instead of Kamala and go for another 4 years. You think that's outrageous? I don't. How the heck could he help himself with a war before the election? I don't see it unless all the chaos that's going to break out in America causes him to use his war powers or executive order or both and shut down the elections for the sake of conducting a safe, fair, and honest election without violence. Now I want to look a scripture up, so I'll take a minute to do that. Okay, and then I want to show you what could happen in Bible prophecy. I'm still digging it out. I'll get it. Is that it? Let's see. Oh, give me another second. I'll give up if I can't find it. I'll just look for it manually, but I'll get it. It is Jeremiah 51:46. I'll read it to you. King James. Jeremiah 51, verse 46. This is destruction of the daughter of Babylon, i.e., America. And lest your heart faint and you fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. The rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that, in another year, shall come a rumor and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. You could say there's violence in the land of America, but not in its fullness, as I see it. Ruler against ruler. What brings this on? We've been trying to see what would bring it on for a few years. I don't know. It doesn't tell us. See, the Bible prophecies tell you the result of what's going to happen. How they don't tell you what's going to trigger these wars, right? No, it doesn't say what's going to actually trigger it. It says rumors in 1 year and then rumors in the next year of war. Well, that's been going on in America, right? Absolutely. You can't say not. Rumors of war for America? My gosh, yes. And what's going to cause ruler to go against ruler? Well, we thought it was the open border. Didn't do it. See, to be a ruler, you got to have some status, okay, as holding some official capacity, or you're not a ruler. In other words, the guy that owns Amazon is not a ruler. The guy that owns Microsoft is not a ruler. The guy that owns United Airlines is not a ruler. Okay? Elon Musk is not a ruler. Trump is not a ruler. He has no official capacity at all. He has an honorary title as president, but he's a former president. He has no authority. Trump could not arrest you. Trump could not pass a bill or propose legislation. Trump can't do anything. Okay? So what's going to cause the people to rise up against each other? But it's not, like black fighting white, or, Latinos fighting whites or blacks, or it's not that. Is ruler against ruler. So somebody that's holding an office. So it's probably states rising up against the Fed. The open borders really haven't cut it, have they? No. They're not really rising up against the Fed. They're not listening to them about immigrants. Very minor stuff, I haven't seen a single state say, listen, these people in the Fed are out of their minds. They're not going to wake up. What I'm ordering you to do as a resident of blah, blah, blah state is don't pay any more federal income tax. I never heard that. That would get the attention of the Fed. Never heard that one, though. Have you? No. Well, better yet, I'm putting emergency legislation through the Congress for us to resign from the Union and be an independent nation. And we're going to join these other 6 or 8 states and form our own country. And we're going to try to make peace with these other countries or some nonsense like that. I don't know. See, it doesn't tell us how it's going to happen. It just tells us it's going to happen. You're going to understand this stuff about Bible prophecy. So what I learned the hard way is don't say, oh, this looks like it's the fulfillment of that. You really got to say that unless the Lord gives you a prophecy and you're quite sure it's from the Lord, you got to say, we don't know how this is going to be fulfilled exactly. But it could be this. But am I saying it has to be this? No way. Could it be this? Yeah, time's marching on. There's not that much time left till redemption. So I'm pretty sure that it's coming soon, but it may not be this. And Biden may never pull this. Biden may just let the elections go down. He may lose. He goes out of office. And that's that. That could happen. Maybe Trump would be president, and then he starts pulling moves, and the people think that he betrayed them. Or maybe he does what he says he's going to do, and the left wing say, we can't take this anymore. He got to go. He's not my president. He's not my president. He's not my and there you go. Okay? That could happen too. It could. I don't know. Something's going to happen. This is going to occur. It could be that it's none of these things. It could be when the sleeper agents start up, and they will. The people in some states say, we had it with this idiot Biden. We had it with this government. It's done. and they just pass quick legislation and resign. Now, they don't have to do a voter referendum that's going to take 3 or 4 or 6 months. They could call an emergency session of the state legislature and go for, a high majority, whatever they want, whatever their laws are, 60 2/3 or 75%, whatever the heck it is. And then the government signs it, and they send a declaration to the United States that get all your stuff out of our state, we're no longer under you. And all your federal agents go on notice that if you attempt to arrest anybody in our state, you will be put in jail for impersonating an officer of the law. And then there's a lot of complications, like what do you do with the prisoners? That might be federal. What do you do with the military bases America has there, and the American military equipment? Do you confiscate it? Probably. I mean, what do you do with currency? You got to make a new currency. What do you do about federal bank insurance? That's gone away. What do you do about a million different things? It's very complicated. But it's going to happen. Let me check the chat, and then I'll read you the rest of those scriptures, and it shows you more details. Rivka's okay. She's not getting any worse, that's for sure. We'll know more in a few days. A lot of the doctors are on holiday right now. I'm getting rid of the trolls now. They're probably already gone. They just jump in, do a post. What's happening? Moshe means what's happening. In Yiddish, it's was machst dir or was tut's dir. In English, it's what's happening or what's up or what are you doing. Thank you about the hat. Kamalin. All right. Yeah, someone's talking about inflation's problem with food. There would also probably be problems with getting lots of goods, gas, and stuff like that. And yeah, that could definitely cause ruler against ruler. Of course it could. I agree. We don't know. We don't know. These trolls, I think they just go around bouncing in and out, in groups, bouncing in and out of live chats, just insulting people. They're probably children. I mean, how could somebody that's like more than 21 years old actually do that? unless they've just lived a virtual life their whole life and they act like 14 or something. I don't know. You know, I mean, what's, yeah. It makes them feel good to go in and insult people, like one insults my voice. And, yeah, it's ridiculous, you know. All right. So we can't tell when it's going to happen, but we know it'll happen. But let's get back in there. Um, the verse we see before this, before Jeremiah 51, verse 46, verse 45 is, my people, go you out of the midst of her, speaking of America, and deliver. Oh, the thing jumped on me. That's the problem with iPads. Let me get it back. 45. Okay. My people, go you out of the midst of her and deliver you every man his soul. The word for that should be nephesh. It is. That's soul. His soul from the fierce anger of Jehovah. Now, that's referencing what's going to happen to America. Okay? Let me go back down and see if I could. There's another verse I want to find you, a couple more in here. Verse 47, therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon. For the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith Jehovah. Now, when he says from the north, he could mean from the north of the daughter of Babylon, which basically is Canada and Alaska. What else, right? Or he could mean coming from north of Israel. In this case, I would think he's talking about north of America. Let's check the word on this. Out of, from, yeah, that's okay. And the word for north. Yeah, it means north. Saxophone. It means north. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall. I've told you that all along. Okay? They're going to do much worse things to Israel. It says that America will do evil in our sight. You haven't seen the end of this. When the election is over, if it ever happens, Biden is going to show his true satanic colors towards Israel. You watch. Am I worried? No. Biden's God doesn't reign. Jehovah does. Babylon has caused. Now let's get the words right so we get this correct. Okay, the word for as in Hebrew is gam. It's sort of right, you know. It's also or additionally or something like that. Also Babel, which is Babylon in the English. It's Babel. It's a word that means confusion. There never was a Babylon. There was a Babel. And it's more or less a generic word. It means, well, it did belong to a country, but it means confusion. And I would say it applies to the Biden administration and America. Has caused the slain. Let's just check all this. Kalal, yeah, dead, slain, no problem. Israel to fall. Not so much that meaning. It's stronger. Let's see which word strong's picked in English. It means like cast down, die, fall means, it kind of does, but it's stronger than that. Cast down, the slain of. So at Babylon shall fall the slain of all, and it says the earth. It doesn't say the earth, it says the land. That's what ha'eretz means. It can mean the land and it can mean the earth. But it doesn't make sense. The slain of all the earth are going to die in America. How's that happen? It doesn't. It's the land. You have escaped you that have escaped the sword, go away. Let's check that word. Halak. Yeah. In Yiddish, you'd say geyavek, but we don't use Yiddish, so it's not biblical. So go away, stand not still. That means don't just sit there and watch and scratch your chin. It means get out of town, get out of the country. Remember Jehovah afar off. So there, obviously this isn't in Israel, this is in America. Afar off, and let Yerushalayim come into your mind. So you can't make a case that the daughter of Babylon is Israel. It says in Jeremiah 50:51 that the daughter of Babylon is on many waters. Okay? Israel's not, but it's not. It's it's definitely not Israel. I just showed you that. So they say it's Mecca and Medina. Those places are in the desert. They're not on many waters. There's no Jews there to get out. It's ridiculous. There's no Christians there to speak of. It's America. They're on many waters. You got 8,000 rivers. You got about that many lakes, including the Great Lakes, which are like oceans or something. And then you got the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Gulf of Mexico. And it talks about mingled people. Did you ever hear America called the melting pot? We are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame has covered our faces, for strangers are come into the sanctuary of the Lord's house. Wherefore, behold. Now, I think this is from the past, but there's another temple coming. And this could apply to the next temple. America could have military here left over from all these conflicts and try to get in the temple, but I don't think so. I think it's a carryover from the past with the original Babylon. And it's the same unclean spirits that ran the original Babylon that are running America. That's the thought that I have about this, the interpretation. Wherefore, behold, the days come. I gotta see what this is. My wife might need me for something. Hello? Hi. Hello? Yeah. Hey, what's up? Oh, I'm doing a broadcast, so I didn't read it yet. Everything okay? Well, why don't you come over here and let me give you some money for a taxi, please? Please. All right. Okay. I couldn't. I had some once upon a time, but going back many years, they're probably not good anymore. I mean, they'd be 10 years old. I don't think that. I don't even know where they are. Yeah. Yeah. I I don't know where those are, and I don't think they should be comfortable with them. I don't really, I don't really know what, unless you could find some in one of the stores, but I don't know about, that. Yeah, I had once upon a time, like ear covers for shooting. I haven't seen them in years. I would take me 3 hours to find it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, what are you gonna stop here for water or buy water? Okay, so call me when you get here because I got the back door locked and I'll run and open it. Okay, and go in the front. You can just make sure you got to watch Beulah. She'll run out on you, so you got to make sure you lock. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Bye. That's a friend of ours bringing supplies to my wife in the hospital. So that's why I had to take that. Sorry. Okay. Um, there's no problem. She just needs like bottled water and We are confounded because we have heard reproach, shame hath covered our faces for. Okay, we covered that. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that I will do judgment upon the graven. We covered that. See, you got to listen. Jeremiah 51, 55. Because Jehovah hath spoiled Babel and destroyed out of her the great voice, when her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered. The great voice. Is Israel the great voice? Are you kidding? Who listens to Israel? Is Mecca and Medina and Saudi Arabia the great voice? No. The Pope's the great voice. Who listens to the Pope? Do the Muslims listen to the Pope? No. Do the Christians listen to the Pope? No. Do the Buddhists listen to the Pope? No. Do the Hindus listen to the Pope? No. Do the atheists listen to the Pope? No. Forget the Pope. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babel, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken, for Jehovah for Jehovah, I believe this says El, not Elohim, El, of recompenses. That's going to happen in the year of recompenses, which we're in now. I was shown it started around October 10th, 2023, but it's not a firm year. In other words, a Shana is a biblical year, like a 12-month year, right? Shanim is the plural for 12-month years, like 2, 3, 4 years. Shana is not a plural. So this is not going to be 2 years. It's going to be less than 2 years, but it's like you shall select the lamb in the first year for a sacrifice from the Old Testament. So that would mean the lamb is not in before the first year, because that would mean they could take a baby lamb away from the mother when it's 4 or 6 weeks old, and the mother would be so upset and distraught. It would be super painful. But when the lamb's more than a year old, the mother's not so close to the lamb anymore. The lamb's grown up. So it would mean a lamb that's over 12 months, but less than 24 months. That's how that word is used. Remember, Hebrew does not work into English well at all. So that word is a shanat. So it is not a precision 12 months. It could go 23 months and still meet the test of a shanat. You could find a lamb that's 22, 23 months old, and it would still be within the first year. And that might have been what they did. They may not have just grabbed the lamb at 12 months. They might have waited 16, 18 months till the mommy is, finished with it. Like you, probably some of you, or a lot of you have had, kittens and puppies, and the mother's really doting over them for a while. And then when the thing starts getting bigger, like a dog, if you keep it around, it becomes a member of the pack, and the mother doesn't treat it like a baby anymore. It treats it like another member of the pack. So that's my commentary on that. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, saith the king. Is that word really right? Yeah, Melech, the king, whose name is Jehovah of hosts. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken. Now, broad has, again, it's not such a great translation to English. It can mean a long wall is a broad wall. We use the word broad, and it would mean the wall's not 8 inches thick, it's like 12 feet thick, right? But you got to think differently with the Hebrew. When you're looking at the wall, let's say from, a quarter mile away, just to pick a distance, right? It's broad, it's wide, it's broad. You got it? The only broad wall that America has is between America and Mexico. So that means they're going to break in from Mexico. Do you know of any people coming up and sneaking into America that might be sleeper agents? You get the picture? They could have a swarm waiting beyond the swarm that's already there. The broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken, and her gates shall be burned with fire. Let's check the word for gates so we know what we're at. Sha'ar. It doesn't necessarily need to be a gate. Let's read this better. An opening, a passageway, a city door, a gate, a port. It could be a port. A port. Okay, so what makes the most sense here? Her high gates shall be burned with fire. All right, well, that could mean a port. I don't think it makes sense to say her gates are going to go down. Her walls will be broken. Let's check that word. Arar. Stripped, made bare. Yeah, let's see. Demolished is what Strong's uses. Okay. How can you knock the walls down? You take a truck and ram it, go down, right? Her gates burned with fire. That could mean the ports. That makes more sense to me. We've seen a lot of ports burning lately around the world. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire. And that word should be ash, and it is. Fire is the correct word. And they shall be weary. Let's check the word for weary. Weary, faint, weary. All right. Let me give you another verse here so you get a picture of what's coming. Of course, it's coming. Jeremiah 51, I think around 8, maybe. We'll get up there and take a look. Let's start in 51:1. destruction of the daughter of Babylon, America, is predominantly in Jeremiah 50:51, and also Isaiah 47. Now, just to cut through the chase, all the true believers in Yeshua are in Israel, and it says all Israel shall be saved. And you will be leaving America because she has her own harvest, and the people come to Israel. The lost tribes, believers, the non-lost tribes of Israel, they all come to Israel. And you will as a believer. If you're not a believer and you're going to stand on your church membership, sorry about that. It's not going to go well for you. Thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will raise up against Babel and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind. Well, we've been seeing a lot of storms hitting America. And will send unto Babel fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. Let's check that word, empty. Bakak, not such a bad translation. Oh, it means depopulate. It means depopulate. Oh, they have it wrong. It's like depopulate her land. For in the day of trouble, let's check the trouble word. Ra. Yeah, evil, bad. Okay, day of trouble. They shall be against her round about. Let's check for roundabout. Make sure we got that right. Yep, roundabout. So they'll come from Canada, and they will come from Mexico, and I expect the oceans. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, and spare you not the young men, destroy you utterly all her host, all her army. The whole army's going to go. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans. That's America. And they are thrusted through in her streets. The Chaldeans were a bunch of witches, like soothsayers, astrologers, junk like that, in old-time Babylon. And you got a lot of that going on in America. You got gypsy fortune tellers running businesses. You got all this nonsense there, astrology in the newspapers. You got everything in America. For Israel hath not been forsaken. Well, there's a lot of churches that believe it has. Nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Well, that's the case now, but he's not finished with us. He's blinded our eyes and stopped up our ears for 2,000 years, and that's in Hosea 6:1-2. Guess what? Time's up. We're in year of recompenses now, the payback to the nations. Look what happened to Gaza with the Hamas. Look what's happening to Hezbollah in Lebanon. And look what's going to happen to Yemen and Syria and Iraq and Iran. Just wait for it. And if Russia wants to be in on this, them too. Be not cut, flee out of the midst of Babel, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her lawlessness, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Quite suitable, this would be in the year of recompenses. Babel hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, as in Looney Tunes, and that looks that way now. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Now, let's break it down for you, please. Babel, the first word. Suddenly, let's check that. Pitom. Yeah, instantly is perhaps better. Okay? Suddenly ain't bad. I would say instantly. So it's going to happen like that. Suddenly fallen. Let's put the fallen word into real English if we can, or more accurate English. The fall. Cast down is instantly cast down and destroyed. And the word for destroyed is shavar, and maybe better break in pieces, but let's see what Strong's tells us. Destroy, break in pieces. It's okay to say destroyed, I guess. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. Okay. Balm, B-A-L-M, not B-O-M-B, B-A-L-M. Sari, a salve, a cream, an ointment, right? It's figurative, of course. You're not going to rub cream on the country, right? Balm for her pain, and the pain word is Mako. Anguish, grief, sorrow, pain. Yeah, it's okay to say that. Pain. So be. So be. Not so be. Perhaps she may be healed. Let's check that, Rafa. Yeah, that's a health healing word. Rafa, I believe, is a doctor or something. So she may say, okay, she may be healed. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Oh, let's get a better word for forsake. Leave. Turn your back and get out. That's what I would phrase it more, forsake. I mean, just get out of there. Walk away from her. Oh, my people, come out from her and touch not the unclean thing. Get out of there. What are the unclean things? All the graven images. But she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up over to even to the skies. Jehovah have brought, so there are going to be lots of people going back to where the countries they came from. They're not really Americans. They came there to snuck in whatever, or they, did good immigration with the law and all, and they're to work there, and they take off. They go back home. They don't want to stay there. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Jehovah Elohim. So a lot of them are going to come to Israel. I'll read this again, Jeremiah 51:10. Jehovah hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion, Israel, the work of Jehovah. So they're going to come to Israel, and they're going to tell everybody in Israel what Jehovah did to America. Maybe there's no internet. So they try to heal her and she will not heal. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. Maybe they tried to heal her. Maybe Biden tried to stay in office and they tried to throw him out. I don't know. Please keep praying for my jaw to stay in place. It's good for many hours of the day, but when I get online and I start screaming, it goes out. So when they try to heal her, what did they try to heal her of? We don't know. Could it be they were trying, a bunch of patriots and militias trying to defend America against the invaders? Maybe. Defend America against the illegals coming in? I don't know. We don't know. We're not given. The reason I'm telling you I don't know, it's not given. But you better understand it happens suddenly fast. America was flying a sub hunter around Cyprus yesterday. A word about Russian subs. Russian subs are back off the coast of Florida. The attack seems to, when you study Revelation 17 and 18, it seems to begin with Washington, D.C. getting blown up and burning and everything. So that could be from missiles from submarines launched under the water, or warships doing it, or aircraft, or terrorism, or sleeper agents. Who the heck knows exactly what brings it on, but it comes suddenly. Sleeper agents in America could build missiles and launch missiles from inside America. Why could they not do that? I don't know why they could not do that. They build them in Gaza, they build them in Lebanon, they build them in Yemen. They can build them in America easy. China has up to 350,000 acres of land, much of it on borders or near or next to or right by American military bases. They grow agriculture on there as a cover story. Why couldn't they just build a barn or 2 or 3 barns and build missiles and rockets and weapons in there? Drones, stuff like that. Smuggle them in. The border's open. They could smuggle in these components to build them. They can put machine shops in there. They can do whatever they want in there. Nobody's coming on their land to search it. Let me dig up my notes here and see what I'm not telling you that I wanted to tell you and get going there. I do think America is going to see through the destruction of Iran, Iraq, and Syria, which is Elam in Jeremiah 49. I think they'll see that through. But it just doesn't tell us that in the Bible. It tells us that Elam, which is pieces of Iran, Iraq, and Syria, get destroyed, and all the people leave these countries and scatter into every one of the nations of the world, which is what they want for Israel. And it doesn't have to be America that does it. It could be any other countries. I don't know. NATO, for instance. The other Muslim states may turn on Iran because Iran pushes too hard. And most of them are Arabs, and Iranians are not Arabs. They're Iranians. Persons, they're not Arabs. They speak Farsi, they don't speak Arabic either. If you got questions, just put them up. So it's going to hit America suddenly. You got to remember that. Instantly. It's going to be a surprising thing. Oh, America is doubling the amount of THAAD missile launches that we had. So I think we had 3. Now we should have 6, or we'll have 5, or something like that. They're not being very clear, but I believe it was 3, so it could be 6. They fly them over. America, I believe yesterday, or like in the last 24 hours or so, launched 8 refueling tankers off the East Coast. So your guess is as good as mine. They went to Europe, they went to the Middle East, they went to Israel. Probably the Middle East. Iran is starting to threaten they'll do a ground invasion in Israel. See, they're just trying everything under the sun to scare the people of Israel, to put pressure on the government not to attack them. The way a ground invasion would have to work would be they go from Iran to Iraq, which Iraq wouldn't mind, but this would have to be a convoy with armored jeeps, armored personnel carriers, tanks, mobile artillery, and trucks of soldiers. Lots of trucks of lots of soldiers. From Iraq, they go into Syria. Now, Iranian military column coming into Iraq and Syria, where America has numerous military bases, and UK has bases in Syria, or one maybe. They definitely have something. They're not going to be real happy about seeing them approach, will they? But let's say America puts up with it, which I doubt, because they may stay in Syria. And then if America gets involved with Iran and Israel war in a way Iran doesn't like, Iran calls up their column of 40 or 50,000 or 70 or 100,000 soldiers and say, kill all the Americans. So America's going to bust a gut. They're going to have a blood pressure fit if anything like that would happen, don't you think? But let's say America let it happen. You think Israel's not going to bomb the column on the way to Israel? They're going to wait for them to get 2 miles away before they attack them? Once they enter, if they go into Iraq, that's one thing. Once they enter Syria, they're going to blow them up. They'll send, at first 25 planes. Each plane will drop, 2 bombs, 4 bombs. It'll kill thousands of them. If they don't turn back, do it again. They don't turn back, do it again. Do it again. That's it. After a while, you just ignore them because there's nothing left. Iran will just threaten everything. They're threatening to blow up our nuclear power plants. They're threatening military, anything. They just threaten anything. They want out of this. they made a stupid mistake. They probably ate too much tossed salad and all enchiladas, and they did that missile attack on Israel, the 180 missiles, a few weeks ago. Now they're trying to get out of it, and they can't. And they're trying to use Russia to make a ceasefire, but that's not going to work. The only way that would work is if Hamas went and agreed to a serious demilitarization. In other words, rifles, pistols, bullets, missiles, everything, which they won't do. Yemen would have to agree to it, which they won't do, and Hezbollah, which they won't do. So there's no point in a peace deal. Israel's not retarded where they're going to sit there and say, okay, we won't attack Iran, even though Iran keeps feeding weapons, money, trainers, military advisors to all these proxies that keep attacking us. We're not that idiotic. And I'm sure that was explained to Russia. If Iran said, leave us alone and we'll have a ceasefire with Yemen, with Gaza, with Lebanon, with Iraq, and with Syria, that might get legs, but remember this, if Iran was so strong, when Israel started threatening them and they started the cyber attack, Iran would have done a preemptive attack on Israel. They're trying to get out of it now. And that's why they had Russia bring warships down there. They're scared. I'm not so sure what Russia's going to do for them, and I don't know if the Russian warships left. I'm not sure. They may have left. Let's see if we can find out. I'm checking around here. Give me a second. I have a feeling they're there, but let's see if we can check. America has announced that they know Russia was providing targeting information to the Houthis in Yemen to attack shipping in the Red Sea. Biden is blaming that on Putin now. That is bad for Putin, because he's complicit in ships being attacked that were not going or coming from Israel, because the parent company that owned the ships did previously send something to Israel or bring something out of Israel. And that's pretty broad. And Putin's now in the jackpot with that. Or at least as far as Biden's concerned, and that's about all that counts. I can't tell if the ship's left or not. Um, I'm thinking they did not. I'm thinking they're still there. Try another source. Um, I checked in Google, a broad range. We know the ships went there, and we're not being told they returned. So I'm assuming they're still there, and I'm guessing probably about 6. Maybe as little as 3, maybe 8 or 9, or something like that. Maybe 10. I don't know. But this is very, very dangerous because fireworks are going to fly. They could hit an American or an Israeli plane, and that'd be a disaster. And their ships could get hit. It's a dangerous situation. Big wars start. That could be a flashpoint for a very big war. Just pop right up. Seriously. It's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing. So you got to be careful. Okay? Keep praying for the bird because she's a little lonely now, that rehabilitating bird, because my wife's not here and my wife cuddles her and stuff like that, and I'm not. I talk to her, but I don't take her and cuddle her and stuff like that. I used to do things like that, and I found myself with all kinds of bird talon marks on my shoulder, and I had one that would get on my shoulder and play with me, and then she'd start biting my earlobe, so I'd give her food, and I didn't like that game at all. The beak, which they can crush walnuts, like boom, just like that, in my earlobe. No, thank you. That's not my idea. I mean, having a dog lick me, I don't mind that at all. Having a cat rub against me, I don't mind that at all. Having a cat jump up and lay in my lap while I pet it, I like that. My wife's allergic to cats. I don't have any cats, but cats I like a lot. They come sleep in the bed with you. Unfortunately, they like to sleep over you on the pillow for dominance, but you get good cats too, and I've had them, and they crawl under the covers with you, and if it's cold, they'll snuggle up with you. I got to buy another blanket today. I don't know. This blanket I have is several years old. It was a cheap blanket I got at a supermarket. I mean, it was like $15 or $10. I've had it for 3 or 4 years. It's been really good. But my wife's been washing it, which is a good thing. And I think it's been getting thinner and thinner. The last few days, I'm cold under it, So I got to get another one. I'll have to order one. They got cheap stuff here. They come out of China or someplace like that, and they're or India or whatever. They're made out of synthetics, and they work good. Or I could just get another one, the thin one, and put it on top of this one. I don't know. I'll figure something out. It's not hard. But it's been getting me cold. I've been cold with it, and I don't like being cold, So I started sleeping with a wool watch cap on at night again, which I do all winter long, of course. A lot of heat escapes from your head. And if your feet are cold and you put a wool watch cap on, you'd be surprised how your feet get warm. I don't like to wear socks. The floors here, if I had wall-to-wall carpeting, I'd wear socks all the time. But the floors here are tile, and they can be slippery, and I don't like, with the socks, you get out of bed and you start standing and your feet go sliding. They're slick. Now, when you're barefoot, no, your feet don't slide, But with, the socks are all 100% cotton and they slide. So I don't like that, And they're slippery. Then if there's water on the floor or something like that, your socks get wet, and that's a pain in the neck. You got to change them, So I ignore that, and I just, wear some kind of shoe, usually clogs, in the house. But now I'm going to start wearing running shoes when I go outside because my feet are cold now. I got these Sketcher things on that are just some sort of cotton or synthetic, and my feet are cold. So I'm going to start wearing my running shoes. I bought different running shoes. You know, I tried a pair a year ago or something, and they had this the air or something in there for energy, so you could rebound. You know, for running. I'm too old for going running. You know, and I started wearing it around the house, and I was bouncing, and my head was moving, my whole body was moving, and it was getting me like weird. You know, so I took them off. I'm bouncing. You know, what is this? I don't want to bounce around. You know. Okay. Let's go to Jeremiah 49. Let me check the chat, and then we'll do Jeremiah 49, and I'll show you in there what's going to happen. It's in the Bible. God knows the end from the beginning. Oil, by the way, gold is performing quite well. Let's check gold prices. That's fast. Okay, gold prices. I use Kitco. I search for Kitco, Kitco. And spot silver and gold or precious metals, and you get it all. Here I am. Let me refresh it, make sure it's fresh. Gold is performing quite well. 27.27 and 10 cents. 27.27. It was the other day 27.40 something. You know, I think it went all the way up to 60. So they're trying to push it down. But it's approaching 3,000 now, and I think maybe when it hits 3,000, it may explode. I imagine there's a ton of buy orders in at 3,000, or 3,010 or 5 or something like that, because people are waiting for this explosion. They're going to jump in at 3,000, 3,005 or 10. And they're going to watch it go to, you know, 3,090 or 3,200, and then they're going to dump it, you know, something like that. Silver's doing quite nice, $33.39. See, if gold goes to 3,000 and over, silver could likely go to easily $50, $60 or $80. See, when you go and you want to buy gold or silver or platinum or palladium or any of that, I would only go to gold and silver, by the way. But people buy it online with stockbrokers, and that's paper gold. It's not real. You don't have possession. You may never get possession. You don't know if it's real. You don't ever want that. It's phony. It's gambling because you don't really know you have gold. But if you go to a good dealer and you buy gold or silver and you put it in a house with you, well, now you got gold and silver. And that's the only way to do it. There's a million ways to hide gold and silver, okay? You can go in your garage. You can break a hole if you got a garage in your private house. You can break a hole in the garage, right? And you can get a safe, wall safe, which is metal, and they're round, and they go about, you get them in different sizes, and pour concrete, shove the wall safe in the hole in the garage floor, let the cement sink in, and then put some plastic over it, and then put some boards on it, and then re-cement the floor, and then paint it or whatever you're going to do with it, make it look good, right? And you know where it is, right? So you can mark it somehow with a scratch or pour a spot of oil on it or something like that, right? So you know where it is. So if you need it, you keep yourself a big heavy tool. It could be a pickaxe. It could be one of those heavy crowbars. I mean, a really big heavy one, so you can smash the concrete easily. You could smash the concrete with a small sledgehammer and a metal spike, and then you open up the combination of the safe and you got your gold. You could also just put it in, waterproof plastic containers without the safe, and you're going to be pretty okay. And stick it in there and cover it with plastic and cement. You don't want to put cement on the safe or something, because how the heck are you going to get the safe to work easily after that, you know? And shows? Hey, hey, how are you? Good, good. That's an easy way to do it. You could, if you have a lot of clothes in your closet and you're buying gold or silver coins that aren't very heavy or small bars, you can plant them inside the pockets of your clothing. Crook is probably not likely going to go through all your clothing, wrap it in paper towel or something so it doesn't feel hard. You can do the same thing, shoving them up all the way inside your shoes with a paper towel in there, shoes you don't wear. They're probably not going to want to. But when thieves break, you're not going to get professional thieves in your house, right? You don't live in a mansion. You don't live in Mar-a-Lago or anything like that. You're going to get junkies and juvenile delinquents, right? They come in the house. They're in a frantic hurry. They need drugs. They're probably on drugs, drunk, whatever. And they're in a frantic hurry. They don't think straight. They just want to grab stuff and get out of there as quick as they can. If the cops come, they're at risk of getting beaten, shot, arrested, killed by gunfire from the police. And if the homeowner comes home, he may shoot him. So they're very nervous. Neighbors could come investigate and shoot him. They're very, very nervous. If you have a dog in the house that's a good bark or a big dog, they're probably never going to want to come in. Because they can't, you could shoot the dog, but they start shooting dogs, people hear the gunshots and then cops are coming all over the place. You can do that. You can buy a safe that bolts into the floor and put it at the end of a walk-in closet and then build a dummy wall out of sheetrock so it looks like the closet ends there and the safe's on the other side of it, so they probably never find your safe. You could do that with a real safe and then buy a cheap junkie safe at Sam's Club or something, a little thing or something, and put it somewhere. Don't bolt it in, even just leave it where they can find it easily and even see it, then lock it, and put, I don't know, you could put nothing in there, or, you could, just let them have it, or you could put cubic zirconia or Walmart junk jewelry in there. They might think it's real diamonds. Leave $30 or $40 in there. You could take sugar or baby powder or something and put it in plastic envelopes and make them think it's hard drugs. They'll run out with those. Don't put rat poison in there. No. Just put them in plastic envelopes in there and they'll think you got a stash of drugs, If the cops came and they thought they had a stash of drugs, they would get their drug test kit and test it, and you explain to them what happened, and they would laugh, they wouldn't do anything to you, But how would they see it anyway if it's locked in the safe? You can, now they might taste it to see what it is, but who knows, The idea isn't to play games with them, it's to get them distracted and leave you alone. So if you have a cheap safe and you bolt it in someplace even and make it look real, then they break in and they find $100 in there, and they find fake jewelry in there, fake gold jewelry. They're not going to know what's real and what's not. They'll grab it. They think they got a good score. They're going to look at it and just grab it, They're not going to play around with it, You get rid of them, that's all. But there's a million places you could hide things, If you're going to buy a substantial amount of precious metals, then you want to get a real serious safe, okay? You don't want a gun safe. You can get into the gun safes in 20 minutes. You can use a Sawzall, you can use an angle grinder. They don't like those tools because it makes a racket and neighbors hear it. You know, if you live and the next neighbor's a half a mile away, they're probably never going to hear it in a closed house. But if your if your neighbors are 50, 100 feet or less, they're going to hear it. So they're not going to want to use power tools. And these people that break into houses probably, if they had a power tool, they would have hawked it before they broke into your house at a pawn shop. So they don't do that stuff, they don't do that stuff. So, but they could take sledgehammers, axes, they could get in, depending on how determined they are, a big gun safe bolted into the floor, they're not going to haul it out of there. It's too heavy. But you want a real safe, not a gun safe. The best safes are what's called ceramic safes. You can't break in with pickaxes and hammers and, drill bits. You can't drill them. You can't angle grind them. And you can't sawzall them. And you can't use pickaxes, and none of that works. The only way, you can't use a torch on a ceramic, so a professional can't really get in. The only way they're really going to get in is to use an explosive and blow it up. And you're not a diamond merchant. That ain't happening, okay? And you bolt them into the floor, and they're fireproof. And you want to get one that's rated at least at 15 minutes. 30 minutes is much better. And the best thing is to hide them again, put them someplace and put sheetrock in, like the back of a big walk-in, or somewhere where you can sheetrock it. Okay, bye-bye. Were you going out the front? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going out.
You're going to walk out the back door?
I'm going to do the side.
Yeah, the same way. Okay.
Yes.
Make sure it's shut. Thank you.
I'll make sure it's locked.
Bye-bye. So they're not going to get into that kind of a safe. But the problem is, if you're home and they come in on a home invasion and they get the jump on you, they'll just put a gun in your mouth until you open the safe. That's typically what they'll do. And these safes, ceramic safes, usually have a very good locking system, and they have a keypad. The good ones, you can spin the dial a few times. They don't have batteries. You spin the dial and it charges it up, and you hit the keypad. And they come 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute. The 60 minutes cost a fortune, and they weigh 3,500 pounds. And you don't need them. You're not a diamond merchant, okay? The 15 minutes are good for, guns, superficial amounts of precious things. The 30-minute is the compromise. That means that with the blueprints, professional safecracker has 30 minutes to break into the safe, and he can't. And he uses power tools and torches and everything else. So it's near impossible for anybody but a skilled safecracker who would probably work for a safe company or a locksmithing service or the government to get into those things. You're not going to encounter it, unless you live in a, $11 million house or something like that. Then you buy the 60-minute kind, and you build a safe room in the house that they can't find, and you bolt it in. You bolt it in the back to the wall, you bolt it in the floor in the wall, and they're not getting it out. The only way they're going to get it is to explode it. And I would say that today in Europe or America, there's almost nobody exploding safes, That's just not going to happen. So, the gold and the silver is... So if you're creative, you could find other ways. Don't put them in... Don't go put them in an ice cube tray because the crooks look in the freezer for that stuff. They look for dummy food cans in the fridge. I gotta see what the dog's doing. Give me a minute. Don't do any of that. That's old hat. That was 20 years ago. It was cute. They all know that stuff now. They look in the fridge routinely. You're not getting anywhere using the fridge. Mommy, where are you? Oh, you're here. Okay. Good girl. I want to make sure you don't want to run away on me. There you go. Good girl. So when the wars break out, I would say there's an extremely high chance that the silver and the gold are going to soar. Extremely high chance. You know, almost impossible for it to not happen. Let's check oil prices. Anything over 70 or 80 is usually irregular. Let's see. Spot oil prices. Let's see. Oilprice.com. The regular crude is 70 a barrel, 74 on Brent. It's not bad now. That's going to soar. But I wouldn't invest in oil because you can't take delivery. I mean, we're going to have, 500 barrels of oil put in your house or something like that. Yeah, you can't do that. Gold, silver. Now you got to be very careful when you buy this so you don't get counterfeit gold and silver. The way you do the gold coins, this I can tell you, is you can buy this on Amazon. They're plastic or metal, and they fit like Krugerrands or maple leaf. It's a round circle with a certain elevation in a plastic case, and you drop the coin, you slip it into the hole, and it has to fit very tight the dimensions of that hole, and also you feel it that the elevation matches that hole. That means the dimensions are right on the coin, a 1 ounce coin. Okay, then you have to get a digital beam scale, which shouldn't cost you more than 15, 20 bucks. And you weigh the coin on the scale digitally. Okay? All right? And you could look up what the thing's supposed to weigh. And then you buy a rare earth magnet, which is probably $2. And you put it all on your gold coin gently so you don't scratch it. And if it sticks or clings or gets magnetically attracted to the coin, it's not a gold coin because gold doesn't respond to the magnet. That means it has junk metal in there. Okay? You're probably okay if it passes these 3 tests, because there are metals they can put inside the gold coin, so the outer is gold but the inner is junk. But they could also put metals in there that won't respond to a rare earth magnet. It's possible, but they're never going to be able to do that and get the weight right and the dimensions. So for them to get all things right ain't gonna happen. The gold bars are far easier for them to counterfeit, and that's why I like to be careful with that. I've never bought the bars because it's dangerous. You don't know what you're getting. The coins is a much better deal. Because it's, they got to make the coin look like the coin. They need a good mold. And you could also eyeball the thing and see if it's a crappy looking image or if it looks like a good image. It's nice and precise. And, I think you're safer with the coins. And, because things are so expensive, you're probably better with the smaller coins. But you have to make sure you could find a way to check their dimensions and their weight online before you get involved, or buy one of those boxes you can put it in. Because it's so hard for the counterfeiter to get the dimensions of the coin right and the weight. Those 2 things alone are murder for them. Then when you add into it the rare earth magnet test, forget about it. It's the chances of you encountering counterfeits on that level are extremely small. Extremely small. I mean, almost non-existent. Now, you go to a pawn shop or a coin dealer to buy these things typically, and they could be fooled. A guy that's got a pawn shop or a coin dealer shop, and which sells coins and stamps and collectibles, and the guy's been around for 5 or 10 years, he's not sitting there trying to sell counterfeit metals, but he could be fooled. Now, they have their own testing apparatus that they say is more sophisticated, and that's good too. So the guy should make him show you the testing apparatus, how it works. If the guy says, no, I don't have the time, we already tested it, well, that's not a good sign. If anything happens and it was counterfeit, what the guy's going to do is just give you your money back. He's not going to start with the police. The police will say, well, did you go to him and ask him for your money back? And you say, no. They say, try that first. They know they're not going to get a conviction on the guy because the guy's going to just say, I didn't know, I got fooled. Right? So if he gives his money back, there's no damage. And then he'll just try to sell it to somebody else. That's all. But when the spike in prices happens, people are going to go running down to the pawn shops and the dealers, and they're going to try to buy gold, and it ain't going to be there because they don't have any. So when they have it, they're going to sell it probably for $40, $50, $100 over spot. And when you go to buy it, when you go to sell it to them, that's if you buy it. If you go to sell it to them, they'll probably give you $20 or $40, $50 over spot because they're glad to have it. They don't try to make a killing on these things. These guys got low overhead. If they could sell you a 1 ounce coin and make 40, 50 bucks, $100, they're tickled pink. Now, silver. The countermeasures to check against silver coins are usually not that great. I don't know, maybe in recent years they've made advances, but you could don't buy numismatic coins, just get regular, anything silver coin, not a special year or, any old silver dollar or something. And just look at the thing. If it shows wear, like it was worn down, like, they could do that. The counterfeits could do it, but that's probably a good sign. And you could look up what the weight of a silver dollar is and get a digital scale and check it and see how it's supposed to respond to a magnet and check that. But look, you're counterfeiting silver dollars. You got to get the size right, the mold right. You got to put silver on the outside and junk metal on the inside. And, all for $30 when you could do gold for $2,750. Why would people want to focus on the silver coins? You see what I'm saying? It's probably about the same amount of work. Why would you want to do it? Now, again, you got silver bars. I'm not up on what you could do to check to make sure silver is authentic, but you probably can look on the internet. But I think if you buy the silver dollar coins, especially there's old American coins that were, they were dimes and quarters, half dollars, and dollars. Dollars were like almost all silver. The half dollars, I think also, the quarters and the dimes were less, and they sell those by weight. Chances of those being counterfeited is extremely slight. And if you have to get into a situation where you got to barter, right, and silver's selling for $90, $100 an ounce, those little dimes made out of silver could be cute for bartering. So would the quarters. The standing Liberty quarters are silver. The half dollars and the dollars, you can use them for bartering. It's effective. Where when you're talking with gold, and gold's worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 an ounce, bartering with this stuff is, unless you're buying cars or, things like that, what's the point of that? It's hard. What people will do is they'll break 1 ounce gold round coins into pieces. They'll cut them in fourths. And you can still verify them because you can check the weight. The weight should be about a fourth, but the weight will be off because it'll never be exactly a fourth, or some people may get it right. And you could use the rare earth magnet. If you buy the gold, try to get the gold coins that are smaller. And I would be super careful about the bars. If the bars come sealed in a plastic and they got a barcode authentication label with a holographic seal, a big deal. You can counterfeit that. With a serial number, you can counterfeit that. You got to really be careful about that, because when you want to move your stuff for bartering, let's say, people are going to be very suspicious of it, and it's got to pass scrutiny, and then you'll get a premium value for it, So, but when the eggs are hitting the fan, you're going to go to the coin dealer and the pawn shop, and he ain't going to have nothing. You could also buy old silverware silver, but you got to know what you're doing. But you could buy sets of that stuff, and you got to pay a little premium because it's put in silverware form. But that's another thing you could do. Then it just trades by weight. You could buy silver chains, big, heavy silver chains that are probably not counterfeit, but you got to know who you're buying from. See, there's not a big incentive to go counterfeit silver when you can counterfeit gold, you know? But you got to be very careful. So your safest bet is the old American coins. The nickels were not silver; they were nickel. The dimes, they're called a mercury head dime. Okay, like the demonic figure Mercury with little things on the side of the head. The Mercury dime, it looks like a woman, but it could be a guy, I don't know. And then there's the Standing Liberty Quarter. It's a figure standing in a gate. I think it's a man or something. It could be a woman standing in a gate on the face of it. And then you got the half dollars that were also silver, and the silver dollars. They usually call them a Morgan dollar. And those are your best bet, you know. The smaller the coin, the less likely they're going to bother counterfeiting it. Okay? But, I mean, why is anybody going to counterfeit silver dollars when they could go after a gold piece? There's just not enough money in it to really put a lot of time and energy into it, you know? It's just not, it's not there. Now, if silver's selling at $50, $60 an ounce, then it starts getting a little interesting to people. But they'd start looking at doing silver bars, like 10 ounces and 100 ounces, so they could get a bigger yield, you know. But the bars are scary, okay? Silver's harder to transport than gold. So if you're going to leave and hit the road, which a lot of people are going to do, you know, and you got 10 1 ounce gold round coins, and they were at $5,000 or $8,000, they could even be at 10,000, you know. So you could have 10 coins and you're walking out with $100,000, and you could put, you know, 5 in one pocket and 5 in the other, and that's it. You could put a few in your shoes. Put them, like if you're wearing running shoes, and put them under the foam thing, and you could probably put 5 in your shoe. Now you're gonna have to walk with heavy shoes. But if you're sitting in the car or driving or on a train or a plane, you know, it's not an effort. You can do, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, you know. Um, you can buy a money belt and put the coins in your money belt and put it on. You know, there's a million things you could do. So silver is heavier, and if you got a lot of money of it, it's harder to transact. If you're going to barter, you're mostly going to barter for food and simple items. So you're going to get better mileage with silver coins because they're not, you know, worth that much. And, you know, that's basically it. Let's go to the chat and then Jeremiah 49. I want to finish that. Let's see what's on in the chat. So when the war breaks out, I'm telling you, the price of precious metals gotta go up. I can't imagine not. Don't buy gold stocks. Don't buy any stocks or bonds or commodities or futures. They'll shut the markets. When the wars start, the prices are going to go wacko and they're going to close trading and they may never open. Don't do it. Israel is the safest place in the world. It just doesn't look like it for believers. What countries I think would be the safest? Israel. Other than Israel, you'd have to find a country that where the Israelites were never exiled to since forever. And I don't know what countries those are. I've tried to research it. I have no idea. what those countries are. I can tell you that there's probably been 125 countries that Israelis have been exiled to throughout history since there was in Israel. But I don't know which ones they never were exiled to, but there are some, and I'm not sure who they are. I suspect parts of Africa, but not all Africa, because they've been in South Africa, they've been in Morocco, Algiers, Egypt, Ethiopia, lots of, so I don't know what African states they've never been in. Maybe Ghana, or I don't know. I just don't know. I would say probably they were never in Antarctica because nobody ever really lived there except for government people. But, what are you going to do in Antarctica, And maybe they were there because when Admiral Byrd explored it, he said he found lush green farmland, rich land there. They suppressed that. You got me. I don't know. I can tell you that they've been in every Caribbean nation that I know of. I believe they've been in all of them. They've been in Canada for sure, and America, and Mexico, and every country in Central and South America, and every country in Europe, and probably most, if not all, of the Middle East. So where are the countries they never were in? I don't know. I really don't know. But those would be the safest ones. How much should you put into gold and silver? Gosh, it varies by the person. It just depends what you want, But when America gets hit, all your money in your bank and in the stock markets, futures, commodity is worthless. War starts, the bank will close, they'll never open. Credit cards will be worthless in a few days, checks in a few days, cash will be it. For a while, probably a week, maybe 2 weeks, they'll still use cash. Then they'll stop with cash. If 2 weeks ever, if they can go 2 weeks, it may be over before 2 weeks. If you got gold and silver, you got money. Wherever you go in the world, you got money. Okay? Don't do palladium, platinum, or any rhodium. They don't know what that is. It's just silver and gold. People don't know what that other stuff is. Just stay away from it. I mean, if you're going to go trade it on exchanges, yeah, you can trade it on exchanges, but you don't want to mess with that stuff. It's too obscure. You've got to be able to convince somebody that you're bartering with that it's a good investment for them. Let's say you're looking at bartering for transportation on a boat or a car or a horse-drawn carriage or whatever the circumstances. So, you want, if the guy doesn't think what you got is real, he ain't going for it. So that's what I'm saying. If you get the old silver coins that show wear, you're probably home free. If you get the good gold coins and you're having your check kit with you, you could show it to the guy, at least the rare earth magnet and the box that shows the dimensions, because it'd be hard to drag a digital scale around with you, But again, if you weigh it on the digital scale and it checks in for a maple leaf or a Krugerrand or a panda of that denomination, and it fits in the right hole for that denomination, and you use the rare earth magnet, I would say you're at about 98, 99%. It's not counterfeit. And then you want to make sure you buy it from somebody that has, you know something about. But if you're going to do those 3 tests, I don't think it's likely that you're going to get beaten. With the bars, you can use the rare earth magnet and it might help you. But now, see, coins are what, that thick? The bars are like that thick. So the magnet may not reach down that far where they have the junk metals in the center. It may not do the trick on a gold bar. So you might need to get a really big magnet, something like this. I don't know. Bars, I don't don't like too much. Okay, in Jeremiah 41, verse 1. Now there's going to be a lot of countries here you're going to see fall. And these things haven't happened yet. They're going to happen. So it's really a very rich, rewarding prophecy chapter. And it comes just before the destruction of the daughter of Babylon. Remember that, which starts in Jeremiah 50. This is Jeremiah 49. So these things will likely happen just before the daughter of Babylon gets whacked, which is America. Okay. Concerning the Ammonites, that's what we would call today the northern part of Jordan, which is the capital, Ammon. Okay. Thus saith Jehovah, hath Israel no sons? Hath he no heir? Why then doth their king inherit God, and his people dwell in his cities? What he's saying is, why the heck is Jordan dwelling in Israel's land? Okay? When they know Israel's alive and kicking and out there, why are they doing it? Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard in Rabbah. And Rabbah is Rabbah. And it's a strong 7237. And it's Jordan. It's like right there near Ammon, I guess, or maybe it used to be Ammon, was called this in the old days. So we know Jordan is going to probably get overrun. There's 11.2 million people living in Jordan that are Shiite Muslims and want to kill Israel and the Jews. And the king of Jordan is not going for it, and he's at great risk of being overthrown. And the country may divide, because Ammon makes it in the long run with Israel. They become friends with Israel and they do well. So the country may break into a piece. The lower piece is Moab, and they get wiped out. Central and southern Jordan would be Moab. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard of Rabbah of the Ammonites, and it shall be a desolate heap. And her daughters shall be burned with fire. Then shall Israel be heir unto them that were his heirs, saith the Lord. So we are going to inherit the land and the valuables and the houses or whatever. How, O Heshbon? Heshbon is a word that means an accountant, but it's where the heck is this? The West Bank, I think. It's a place east of the Jordan River. It could still be in Jordan, though. Could be in Jordan. For AI, that's not artificial intelligence, is some place back then, is spoiled. Cry, you daughters of Rabbah, gird you with sackcloth, lament and run to and fro by the hedges, for their king shall go into captivity. Well, Jordan got a king. And his priests and his princes. Wherefore, glorious thou in the valleys, the flowing valley, O backsliding daughter, that trusted in her treasures, saying, who shall come unto me? Behold, I will bring a fear upon thee, saith Adonai Jehovah of hosts, from all those that be about thee. And you shall be driven out, every man right forth, and none shall gather him that wandereth. Well, they're going to be leaving. And afterward I will bring again the captivity of the children of Ammon, saith Jehovah. Concerning Edom, now that is Yemen. Thus saith Jehovah of armies. Wisdom no more in Taman. Taman is the Hebrew Israeli name for Yemen. It means south also, but it's what they call Yemen. No more wisdom no more in Taman. Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? The people in Yemen are lunatics, aren't they? Irritating the world. They're crazy. Flee you, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitant of Dedan. Dedan is Saudi Arabia, kids. Okay? That's what it is. It's Saudi Arabia. Let me see if I can. It's considered to be Saudi Arabia, or it would be Arabia, actually. Um, For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. Let me double check something on this with Dedan. Um, yeah, Dedan's Saudi Arabia. Okay, let me get back. So concerning Edom, thus said, which is Yemen, saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Taman, which is Yemen? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is the wisdom vanished? Flee, you turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan. Now switching to Arabia. For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him in the time that I will visit him. So we're seeing Yemen go away, and now we're seeing Saudi getting it. It if grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. For thus saith Jehovah, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith Jehovah, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes. So what is Bozrah? Edom. Or it could be either Edom or Moab. And Moab would be like more southern Jordan, and the other Edom is Yemen. Take your pick. I have heard a rumor from Jehovah, and an ambassador was sent unto the heathen, saying, gather you together and come against her, and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen, and despised among men. This is not Israel. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. That holdest the height of the hill, though thou should make the nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith Jehovah. Also Edom shall be a desolation, every one that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. So you see, that's where Yemen's headed. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of the Jordan against the habitation of the strong. Now, that would be probably around Israel, because the Jordan River feeds the Sea of Galilee. But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her, over Israel? For who is like me, and who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? This could be Yeshua, it could be Elijah, I'm not sure. Therefore, here, the Apostle John maybe, it's probably Elijah or Yeshua he's referencing, I'm not sure. Therefore, hear the counsel of Jehovah that he hath taken against Edom, and his purpose that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Taman, Yemen. Surely, but Edom is Yemen. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. The earth is moved at the noise of the fall of their fall, at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. See, so it's near the Red Sea, Edom. Okay. The black Hebrews think Israel's Edom, but you could see it's absurd. By the Red Sea, we're not near the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings over Bozrah, and at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Concerning Damascus, Syria. The Israelis don't say Syria, they say Syria, like a U. Concerning Damascus, Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil tidings, they are faint-hearted, there is sorrow on the sea, it cannot be quiet. Damascus is waxed feeble, and turneth herself to flee, and fear hath seized on her, anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not left? The city of my joy. David used to rule out of Damascus. Therefore, her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Jehovah of armies. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the palaces of Ben-Hadad. Concerning Kedar, see, that's their future. And it's especially eye-opening because we're so close to things ending now. Concerning Kedar and concerning the kingdom of Hazor. So that is let's see where Kedar is. Hold on, I'll look it up. Saudi Arabia's Kedar. So the other city we had was in Arabia, but it was probably a different part of Saudi Arabia, which is pretty big. So I can understand how this happens. It looks like duplication, but concerning Kedar and concerning the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babel, shall smite, thus saith Jehovah, arise, you go up to Kedar and spoil the men of the east. So Hazor got, something happened in the past with Nebuchadrezzar, but we're also dealing with the future too. Their tents and their flocks shall they take away. They shall take themselves their curtains. They put expensive rugs on the walls, and the Saudis do. That could be their curtains. And all their vessels, they got expensive, vases and things like that. And their camels, they got camel racing in the Arab countries, and you could buy probably $1 million camels. They shall cry unto them fear on every side. Oh, well, they're asking for it. Flee, get you far off, dwell deep, O you inhabitants of Hazor, saith Jehovah, for Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babel, hath taken counsel against you and hath conceived a purpose against you. Now, the head of America is referred to in Jeremiah 50:51 as this Nebuchadrezzar. So it could be referencing Biden or whoever replaces him. Seriously. Arise, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care. That's the Saudis. Saith Jehovah, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone. And their camels shall be a booty, and the multitude of their cattle a spoil. The multitude of their cattle is spoiled. Well, they buy, Brahma bulls for millions of dollars, and they're all this crazy stuff, racehorses. And I will scatter unto all winds them that are in the utmost corners, and I will bring their calamity from all sides thereof, saith Jehovah. And Hazor shall be a dwelling place for dragons and a desolation forever. There shall there there shall no man abide there, nor any son of man dwell in it. The word of Jehovah that came to Jeremiah the prophet against Elam. Now, Elam is Iraq, Syria, and Iran. The beginning of the reign of Zedekiah. So this was given during the Zedekiah reign, king of Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. The bow is the bow. It launches the arrow. The missile launcher is the bow. The arrow is the missiles. And that's the chief of the might of Edom. Iran, Iraq, and Syria. And upon Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and will scatter them towards all those winds, and there shall be no nation thither. The outcasts of Elam shall not come. So they're going to be scattered into all the nations of the world, which is what they want for Israel. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies in the plural. So it's not just Israel that's attacking them. And before them that seek their life, and I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith Jehovah, and I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. So they're going to be getting the sword even when they scatter into the nations, which is what they want to do to us. They reap what they sow. And I will set my throne in Elam. That means the judgment seat, the throne, the judgment seat. He's going to judge Elam. And will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. But it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith Jehovah. So they're going to come back. And when they come back, it's in Gog and Magog, and it's called Persia. It's not called Iran in the Bible. All right. So let's look at the chat, see if I'm getting questions or anything like that. So you know who's going to get it now in the Middle East. Well, the way I see Bible prophecy, having investments in any kind of stock market type instrument is not wise. The only thing that I think is wise is gold and silver. What do I use? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's nasty. Block them. Oh, the trolls. What an empty life a troll has, huh? What an empty life being a troll. That's all you know how to do. Okay. I hope you got something out of this. You might want to subscribe. That's up to you. I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife Rivka for our peace, safety, joy, healing of our bodies. That's important. Pray for our finances. That's real important these days. Pray for our animals and pets, which are all rescues, to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for better videos. Pray for more insights. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And thank you for those who send offerings. If any of you are using red lights therapy, you might want to drop me an email and I'll try to help you. Okay, I know quite a bit about it now, and I might be able to add to it because you probably got the idea from me, and I'll try to help all of you as best I can. There's ways to communicate on. All right. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. Shabbat shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And it was almost 3 hours today. It's long again. And I'm out. Thank you, guys.